And welcome everyone into the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show live from the Haskell House in Clarion and on exploreClarion.com. I'm your host, Owen Krepps. We're back with another guest, solo guest, a one-on-one interview like we had last week with Damian Pitts from Clarion University. Speaking of Clarion University, we're wrapping up. We're officially done with that stretch where we had about like 6 to 8 straight coaches on, and now we're finally switching things up here, and we got Jason Say in the house.
Thanks for having me.
Jason, how you doing? Welcome to the show, and yeah.
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I knew when you called me, I was like, man, maybe they're getting desperate for guys or whatever, but you want to talk to some old-time ball player, so I appreciate you having me. I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason is a former Keystone graduate and then also a former Division III college basketball player. He also runs his own outdoor sports show that's pretty popular around the area. I'm sure most of you guys watching know who Jason is.
Yeah.
Just in general, how are things going? Like, what's the hunting season like right now this time of year?
Well, we're in the thick of turkey season.
Yep.
You know, it's all month. I go out. I always say, you know, I'm getting to the age. I'm 51 now, so I don't take anything for granted anymore. So turkey hunting's hard because you need to be out before daylight. So every morning, 4 in the morning, I roll out of bed and I go turkey hunting. And there's some days I say, I'm going to sleep in, but I said, you know what? Who knows if I'm going to be able to do this next year? So every day I roll out of bed and go out and turkey hunt. So we're in the middle of turkey season. You know, once that's over, I'll get into food plots and getting ready for deer season and head out on some elk hunts and different things like that. So there's never really any downtime.
Have you bagged any birds yet?
I did. I shot one in Kentucky, and then I shot one in Pennsylvania in opening week as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost bagged one myself. I don't hunt, but I almost hit one with my car the other day.
Yeah.
But how are things going? I understand you have kids. What's going on with the end of the school season thing? Like, are you excited for that to end?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're getting into summer. My son, he played at Penn State Du Bois for a couple years, and he's home. He's going to Penn West Clarion here the next year. So it's nice. Him and I actually play a lot of ball together in the summer. We usually play in a league or two together, and that's kind of cool playing with your son. My daughter, she's a 10th grader at Keystone High School, and she's a volleyball and basketball player. I'm really starting to see a big jump in her. She's hard to coach, though. We could do a whole, I need to have a psychologist here on raising girls, because I feel like sometimes I'm failing because Colin was so easy, but she really has some ability. And so it's getting to that fun stage where we're working hard and seeing where she's going to be at in basketball next year as well as volleyball. So going to be a busy summer.
And then what about yourself? What sports are you currently involved in right now? You're still playing ball?
I am. People laugh. I'm 51 years old and I'm still playing basketball 2-3 times a week. I try.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's 1 time a week depending on whatever. But every day I wake up, the next day I start to think, you know what, maybe it's time to hang it up, but I think I'm going to go till the wheels fall off. So I'm still playing a lot of ball.
Sounds good. We will be diving into your basketball career, the documentary that you've already had released about your time in college,
Sure.
As well as just your hunting experience and just your general sports experience. We'll be diving into that when we get back. We'll do some sports headlines as well as we usually do, but that'll all be coming up on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on Explore Clarion.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Protect your home or business from all those sneaky pests. Give Hugh Henry's Pest Management a call at 814-316-1875 or check them out online at bugguy.com. Pest Management, where nature and technology meet.
Hi, my name is Jason and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in-the-USA super efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com. We're here with Jason Say, and for our second segment, we usually do just a what's going on in the sports world type thing. One thing I do want to mention, our producer Brett mentioned to me that the brackets are out for the PIAA baseball. A lot of it is not super exciting because we got a lot of first-round buys. The teams that have a first-round buy that we cover that are kind of in our area, Clarion, Redbank Valley, Karn City, Clarion Limestone. They all have first-round buys, so we'll see who they play in the real first round of the playoffs for them. Keystone will play Elk County Catholic, and AC Valley/Union will play Cameron County. That'll be on May 21st. So your boy, does he play baseball at all?
No. Well, I mean, Little League, but yeah. But I'm actually, I'm a Keystone grad. I'm on the school board at Keystone, so I'm cheering for my Panthers.
Yeah, it'll be a tough matchup.
And they've had a good turnaround. They've had, like last year, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I don't know if they won a game last year, and they actually were competitive, and I'm excited to see what Keystone baseball is going to do for sure.
Absolutely. Real quick with what's going on in the national just sports world in general, NBA and NHL in the late season or in the late second round of their playoff berths. I haven't been watching the NHL as much as I usually do, but I haven't been watching the NBA at all. Shohei Ohtani's translator pleaded guilty. That was yesterday, I think. So we got a gambling incident again in the MLB. Caitlin Clark made her WNBA debut. She scored 20 points when it was in the loss. She struggled. She had 20 points.
Yeah.
Was what a bunch of people were saying.
She's doing okay. I actually got the chance to see her play, and I don't. Hopefully, nobody rips my head off here. Playing guys basketball. I've never been a huge fan of girls basketball.
Yeah.
But I have to say, going out to the Final Four and seeing them win the 2 nights before and then play, it was good basketball. It's come a long ways, and it's cool to see. I have a little girl now. It's cool to see what Caitlin Clark is doing for the world of women's basketball.
Absolutely.
I'm cheering for her. I'm cheering for the sport itself, and I hope every little girl's watching her and gets excited about playing basketball for sure.
Absolutely. Penguins, Pirates, Steelers real quick. Penguins off season, so not much going on. Prospect Braden Yeager just won the WHL championship with Moose Jaw, so they'll be going on to the Memorial Cup playoffs, so that'll be exciting if you can win that tournament. That tournament has like 90 teams in it, technically speaking. If you win that tournament, it is great. Like, few hockey players are able to do that. But step one is done. Penguins also re-signed Valtteri Puustinen into a 2-year deal. He's a good depth scorer. I like that deal. John Ludwig, Crystal Tang, and Matt Nieto all had surgery. Crystal Tang has had, 8 surgeries in his life at this point? So I don't know how he's still chugging along. And then for the Pens, I'm still waiting on a Mike Sullivan firing. It's a Sidney Crosby extension. For the Pirates, they're currently 19-25. They play the Cubs here upcoming. They traded away Ronzi Contreras to the Angels today for cash, future considerations type deal. They can't hit. They just that's what the story of the season is right now. They need to learn how to hit. McCutcheon's washed.
Yeah.
Connor Joe needs to be in the lineup every night, but he's not. Sometimes it's.
I don't watch a ton of baseball, but I'm so disappointed at it was actually Explore Clarion. Jake had asked the question for people to give their predictions on records for the year, and I predicted undefeated, and I was really doing well for a little bit. What were they, like
10 and something?
0? Yep. And I think Jake posted like, "Hey, Jason stays spot on," but obviously that didn't last very long. So
I don't know. I'm just starting to get more frustrated because I thought that we had something with some of these younger players coming in. Brian Reynolds, another player that just he needs to live up to his contract more. Anyways, Steelers. We do have some news here, even though it is the off season for the Steelers. Schedule was released. I tell you, I don't know if you guys saw them as well, or if you saw them. The schedule releases, everybody had to do something quirky and fun. They couldn't just give the schedule out and it's like, this is our schedule but with vines. This is our schedule but with memes. And I didn't think any of them were funny. Except for the Titans one last year. The Steelers did dad jokes with James Harrison to reveal their schedule. Just give me the schedule.
Yeah.
But,
so I got to ask you, because I was at a golf tournament this weekend, and I'll throw him under the bus out. He's probably not watching anyway. My brother-in-law, Andy Poor, was almost in fisticuffs over the discussion of, should Tomlin stay or is it time for Tomlin to go, right?
There were points last season where I said it was time for Tomlin to go. We'll see how he does with 2 completely new quarterbacks. And we'll see how he does this season. Now that we're close enough to the season, I think he should obviously stay, but I don't know. What is his contract? His contract is up after the season, right? We'll see.
Yeah. I mean,
he walked out of that press conference.
He wins every year. Who are you going to get? I'm the opposite. I'm like, you know what? It's been long enough. Not now. You're going to get through the season, but if it's another 500 season or a non-playoff season, I just feel like, for me personally, it's like, okay, it's time for something new, right?
Right.
And
I would rather have.
You don't have to know. To me, like, who knew Tomlin before he came, right? Who
Right.
knew Bill Belichick? Who knew all these coaches before they got chances? Not you. Okay, who are we going to get? Like, there's somebody out there, right? So I'm to the point, but it's funny to hear people debate. I mean, and it got heated. I thought he was going to jump across the table and punch the guy in the face, but he didn't. And it was all calm. But I want to hear your take on.
I would rather have 3 losing seasons and then a rebuild and then a Super Bowl than 4 9-7 seasons or anything like that. So.
I agree. Yep.
Also in Steelers news, Cam Hayward may be holding out. Well, he is holding out for a contract extension right now. We'll see how that goes. I don't think it'll be anything too big. But yeah, I'm excited for the conference finals of the NHL playoffs. That's when it really heats up and gets good. And then I'm, of course, excited for the Pirates to maybe do better, try and hit a game here soon. And yeah. Any last-minute sports thoughts?
You know what, I'll ask you because it's on my mind. I'm actually getting in. We're doing some documentary work probably for Penn State. What are your thoughts on the NIL? Do you pay much attention to the NIL
Not at all.
stuff? Yeah.
No.
I was just interested to hear, and at first I was so adamantly opposed to it. It's changed. I mean, in essence, college sports are now professional sports.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kids come in when they're recruited. It's how much you pay me.
Right.
It's literally what it is now, and it's a free-for-all. There's going to need to be some regulations, but then I hear the stories. I had Coach Rhodes, who's my roommate from college, coach at Penn State, telling me some stories how one of his players got the first dental work done in his life because he got an NIL deal. We had a mom who called him for the first time. We're ahead in our bills, So there are some really good things. But I was just interested. I didn't know if you paid attention to it at all, or what your thoughts were on the NIL, because you see the Sabins of the world, and they're kind of stepping down because they don't want anything to do with it. And I don't like it. I wish it wasn't there. I wish college sports stayed the way that it was. But in the same time, I feel like, man, maybe there's some really good things so far from it.
All I know is that you can't satisfy anyone or everyone in that. But we'll take a quick break here. We'll be back to dive in to our main core interview on the Main Street Sports Show. And we'll see you guys in about 3 minutes.
Hey, Julie, nice deck. Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tio Nesta Builder Supply, and yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tio Nesta, and yes, Tio Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave. You've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tionestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow, I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tio Nesta Builders.
Tio Nesta Builder Supply Home Improvement Center. Family owned and operated since 1958 with locations in Tio Nesta and Shippensville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tionestabuilders.us.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
Protect your home or business from all those sneaky pests. Give Hugh Henry's Pest Management a call at 814-316-1875 or check them out online at bugguy.com. Pest Management, where nature and technology meet.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com. We're here with Jason Say, and we're going to dive into 2 main things in his life that are of great importance, basketball and hunting.
Sure.
And I want to start from the beginning with you. Were you one of the kids that always had like a little Tommy boy, like BB gun and a basketball in your hand as well?
I would say, I grew up on a farm. I have a twin brother, and we played basketball in the barn, just the 2 of us. It's all we had. Back then, I remember being so envious of the town kids, right? Because you'd hear, but me and him beat the heck out of each other and literally barn ball, and it made me tough. But that's what we did. We grew up on a farm. We had cows, we had pigs, we hunted. We grew up doing those things. So it was pretty much basketball and hunting for sure.
At what age did you start hunting?
When we were kids, now kids can start when they're 5. Back when I was in school, you couldn't start hunting till you're 12. So what you did about the time you were 8, 9 years old, you sat at the window, wait for your dad and uncles. We didn't have TV. You only had 3 channels on TV. You didn't have video games. So you're waiting by the window for when they get home to run out and see what they got. See the bucks in the back and things like that. But no, it was always hunting. It was a way of life in our family, and we hunted as soon as we were of legal age at 12 years old, and Been hunting ever since.
And then basketball, when did you start playing like officially, traditionally? Was it YMCA? Was it
No, I mean
elementary ball?
That's the thing. I was, neither one of my mom and dad played sports, so they didn't really know, what to do. So literally, we didn't play any basketball till 7th grade. There was no AAU back then. There was no biddy ball. There wasn't anything like that. So 7th grade was when we started. But we had a hoop in our barn before that that we'd go out and play. But as far as anything organized, it wasn't until 7th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was at Keystone.
It was.
Your entire experience there, I'm sure, was greatly impacted by the one legendary Greg Heath,
Sure,
who we had on the show as well.
Yeah.
When did you first meet him, and when, I'm assuming he coached you, and what was that experience like dealing with him?
Yeah, Coach Heath impacted me, in two ways. Obviously from the coaching perspective, but him and I, he still played, and a lot of people know that he was one hell of a player. But just tough and we used to play basketball. You'd play at Peanut Park or out at the Salem Community Center, and there would be 5 or 6 teams. And if you lost, you might not play the rest of the night. Mm-hmm. So you scraped, clawed, fought, argued, and so growing up playing with him, man, it gave you an edge. Like, he had an edge, and if you didn't get an edge, you weren't going to make it in the playgrounds. You weren't going to make it out there. You just get steamrolled. Right. So from a player perspective, man, he was just a competitor, and he lit that fire in me in good ways and sometimes bad ways, because I'd fight with somebody till I was blue in the face over a walk call or, oh, you did this or that. We'd argue about everything, but it was just that competitiveness playing. And then to move on and have him as a coach, just a legendary coach in the area. We were fortunate we had really good teams. When I was there, I was fortunate. I'm biased, and it might be, the Poor Brothers or Corsetti or those guys might be looking to disagree with me, but I feel like our team was Garrett Heath, who's a good friend of mine. He might disagree with me. They had some great teams, but I feel top to bottom, I'd put our team up against anybody that's ever come through there. We just had a phenomenal team, and having Coach Heath was just a tremendous benefit to me. Not only, in school, but then growing up later in life for the things I was going to do.
Of course. Are there any specific memories that stand out from your 4 years there?
At Keystone, we were good. My junior year, we were undefeated in the league, 10th and 11th grade, won District 9 championships in 10th and 11th. 11th grade, we were really good. We had Jeremy McCool, who played Division I at Vermont, Kelly Byerly, who was a Division II full scholarship pole vaulter, Jason Ellis, who played football at Slippery Rock, Mike Wilson. We just had a top to bottom, a once in a lifetime team that came through. So, just playing on that team and all the things we were able to do, we were, I think, 26-2 or 24-2 that year. We got to cut a couple games short because those guys went to the state playoffs in football. They went to the state championship in football that year. So we ended up missing out in a couple games. It ended up finishing with 2 losses. Lost to Gerard Hyde, who won the state championship, with Mark Belucas, who played at Wake Forest. And our other loss was to Wash High out of the WPIL. We lost to them, and they ended up losing in the Western Finals. So we were an elite team that year. We were really good. So just playing on that team was a tremendous memory.
Yeah, you mentioned the state championship. Our producer Brett, Keystone guy as well, he mentioned that was something that he remembered from your time back there. I know you didn't play football, but how important was that to you, just the culture of the school back then?
Yeah, I mean, it was just that group of guys and that level of talent, in football and basketball, was just to go all the way. They lost in the state championship, the football game, but we beat Clareton, and I don't know if the coach at Clareton now, I think his last name's Wade. I just saw they did a big interview with him. His biggest regret in his life was losing to Keystone, and beat him in dramatic fashion on a fake field goal attempt, and went all the way to the state championship, and then to come back in basketball and do the things that we did, it was the glory days, right? The glory years at Keystone for sure.
Of course. Now, you've had some glory days of yourself. A lot of it came when you went into play college basketball.
Sure.
What made you want to pursue that avenue in the first place?
Well, I mean, basketball, I knew I was going to play college ball from, I think, when I was in 7th, 8th grade. Not that I was good then, because I wasn't good. I was a late bloomer. I mean, I went from 0 points a game in 10th grade to almost 20 a game my junior year on that team. But I knew I loved it. I loved basketball, and and I was a kid. I was 6'6", lanky, 165 pounds. I think I graduated as. But I always knew I loved the game of basketball. I was a gym rat, and I knew I wanted to play college basketball. From a really young age. I think I told you this. My number one thing. You said, well, you're probably doing the number one thing you'd like to do in hunting. I said, well, actually, the number one thing I like to done was playing the NBA.
Right.
But I'm probably doing number two. Now that I'm hunting for a living. But yeah, basketball was definitely my first passion and first love, and I always knew I wanted to play in college.
How did you settle on Lebanon after?
It's kind of weird. I was not recruited by a lot of Division II schools. Like I said, I was 6'6", 165 pounds, but was fairly skilled, could shoot, could handle the ball. And quite frankly, Lebanon Valley just paid a lot of attention to me. I was recruited by most all the Eastern Division III schools, the Muhlenbergs, the F&Ms, all those down there. A couple Division IIs here and there, but not as hard. And Coach Flannery, and we'll talk about him more. You talk about me having Coach Heath, going from a guy like Coach Heath to having another coach like Coach Flannery. He wanted me more than other people, and it kind of made the decision easy. But I do remember when I told people back here, I'm going to play for the Lebanon Valley Flying Dutchmen. Oh, like, what the heck is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever heard of them, but it ended up being the right choice for me for sure.
You were able to make a name for that team, and during your time there with the championship run. Where should I start with that?
Sure.
How do you begin to unpack something as important to your life as that year was for you? I guess I'll just ask, how often do you think about it? I guess.
It's not like you think about it every day, but there's times in your life where you think about it more than others. I mean, honestly, every year in March Madness.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, man, I remember our days, it was madness, and in the documentary, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that, but the way that we won, we're the smallest school to ever win a national championship. I get goosebumps to this day still talking about it. So there's obviously times of the year that you think about it a little bit more than others. And the older you get, you don't think about it quite as much, but I do know that experience, going through that and the way that we did it, shaped my life in so many ways, from the way I do business, the way I approach life. It was way beyond basketball. It was a lot of life lessons that really helped shape who I was going to be later in life. But just an unbelievable experience.
Of course. And then I have to ask you about the shot.
It was way before the buzzer. Don't show the replay. It was way before the buzzer.
What do you remember from that? Do you remember it at all, or was it all just blacked out in your mind?
Since then, I've watched it 9 million times, right? So I'll just tell you honestly, during the game, and I'll just break it down. 2.9 seconds, we're down 2 points. We have the ball out of bounds. I was the inbounder. Mike Rhodes was our All-American. That's who the play was going to, and we ran a screen to screener. He comes off. It got tipped. Another guy tips it, and I just stepped in, and it came to me, and I put it back in. Right place wasn't any kind of unbelievably difficult shot or anything. Mm-hmm. But in that time, I remember I hadn't seen the replay. We go on to win in overtime, and I'm sitting in the press room, right? And the New York Times is there, all the main, and obviously playing New York University, all the New York newspapers are there.
Right.
And I'm just a 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid, who's just sitting, like, we just won a national championship, and the New York Times reporter just starts grilling me. Do you think that was before the buzzer? Like, Jason, what do you think? And I honestly, like, it is so bang bang when you look at it, like, but I said, like, I couldn't see the light, but I felt confident it was out of my hands before I heard the buzzer, and I said that. And then the coach from New York University did one of the classiest things I've ever seen a coach do, is the New York Times guys just grilling me. And he said, listen, he's like, that was one of the best games I've ever had the privilege of coaching. Calls even out. He's like, I'm not questioning it. You shouldn't be questioning it either. That was the coach who just lost on it. It was one of the classiest things that I've ever seen a coach do, and he really bailed me out. But just a really cool experience.
The shot that you made, how similar, and how many times have you made a similar shot like that in playing backyard ball, where it wasn't a pretty play at all, but the ball went in the hoop?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, 1 million.
Right.
I mean, and again, like I said, I'm capable of making much more difficult shots, than that. But again, it was just right place at the right time.
Right.
And I think I've had that story my whole life, from meeting my beautiful wife and falling into hunting for a career, and things like that. I've been fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, in Buffalo that night, I was in the right place at the right time. Of course. Thank God I didn't miss it.
Absolutely, yeah. May not be sitting here if you
didn't. Doubt my life would probably be a little different. So.
We're going to take another quick break here, and we'll talk a little bit about the documentary that has recently been produced about said season for The Dutchman, called The Dutchman, and we'll be talking about that on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com.
This is a great show.
Hey, check out this all-new 2024 Chevrolet Trax 1RS in Cacti Green. Let's talk about some of those safety features. We have blind spot monitoring system, we have forward collision system with alert and brake, and we have lane departure warning as well. How about the gas mileage?
30 miles per gallon average. Yeah, it's great. Bumper-to-bumper warranty and the 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty.
And check out the clarity on this backup camera on this 11-inch touchscreen. Can you believe you get all the features like heated steering wheel, heated seats, remote start, power sunroof, all for $24,900?
It's a great value in the new Chevrolet. Hey, check out this Glacier Blue RST Silverado 4x4 Z71 4-wheel drive, 5.3 liter V8. Really nice sharp truck. All LT and RST Silverados have this same interior. Got this really large touchscreen display, built-in Google Maps, heated seats, automatic climate control, heated steering wheel. We have a backup camera, really great display, and all the safety aspects. Adaptive parking, adaptive braking, pedestrian braking, blind spot mitigation.
Follow us to Redbank Chevrolet.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, live from the Haskell House on exploreClarion.com. Finishing up our conversation on basketball. We're here with Jason Say, by the way. Finishing up our conversation on basketball. We have to talk about the documentary that was recently produced by Greg Heath's son, Garrett.
That's right.
And when did that release? What was the official release date of that?
It was released officially to the public on the 30th anniversary of winning the national championship on March 19th.
Okay.
So this past March, it was released to the public. But we had a preview of it with the team in homecoming at Lebanon Valley in October. So, yeah.
What did you think of it in general? Like, just your overall thoughts on it. How would you rate it?
I'm biased, right?
Right.
It's my story.
Yeah.
You know, it's our story. So, you know, when we got into it, the whole goal of all of it was, you know, when I pitched Garrett on it, all I really wanted was, I didn't care if it was on ESPN or Netflix or whatever. I wanted it for me and my teammates. I wanted, like, we're getting older, you know, all our stuff's on VHS, right? It's going bad, like all the videos going bad, you know, people are losing, you know, memories are fading. I wanted our story to be there, that we have that, you know, that special story for the rest of our lives. That was my goal, you know, and whoever else liked it, but for me, it was all about me and my teammates, you know, and giving them something that we were going to have the rest of our lives. And as far as my thoughts, I loved it. Like, you know, but it's our story,
right?
You know, so I'm very, very biased. The one thing that could have made it better that I would have loved even more is, but it's just because it was 30 years ago, you know, every news station would cover us, but like we couldn't find any of those news, you know, like pulling that stuff. It just had been so long that we couldn't get it. If we could have had some of that stuff of, you know, the news stations, because every news station went to our games. We were extremely popular down there, and they covered us. So a lot of it we really relied on. If you saw it all, we really relied on newspaper articles and you know, and old VHS tapes that were kind of grainy and hard to see and stuff. So we had to rely on some old stuff. But as far as the story and how it played out, I thought it was perfect. I loved it.
It was preservation, a lot of it. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
What do you have a physical copy of everything, or did anyone get like a physical disc or anything? I'm just wondering, or is it just on YouTube?
Yeah, I have, you know, working on the production, I have a physical
nice
copy of it, you know, and things like that. But it's, you know, it's on the Lebanon Valley YouTube channel. You know, anybody can watch it there and stuff. And but I have a physical
I was
copy.
Just wondering that for the preservation's sake as well.
For sure.
Do you have like a nice little cover on it or anything like that?
I don't. It's actually on a little memory drive, right?
Okay.
You know, and then Garrett, who produced it, he has it backed up on a backup on a backup on a backup. You know, so it's going to be around for a long time.
So I wanted to. This all started after a documentary that you had produced about hunting from Garrett. And what was that like? What was that about? You can tell our audience what that was about. And when did you go, let's do this for our basketball team?
Yeah. So, you know, Garrett's been a friend of mine for a long time, and he's only recently got into kind of really the high-end documentary. And I've been following his work. I've been in film for, you know, filming hunting shows, which is much different than documentary style work. And, you know, I'd been watching Garrett's series. He does some work for like Grove City College, and, you know, and I could see him get better and better. And so, you know, it just so happened, you know, I had this story of this buck, and it's a giant buck. Actually, if I hit him with my bow, if I would have got him with my bow, he'd have been the biggest typical buck ever shot in Clarion County with a bow. You know, I mean, just a monster. And I chased him for 2 years. I had all this footage. I had all this history with him. I ended up hitting him the first day of archery, had to hunt 70 times for him that year. I mean, it was a grind. It was grueling, and I filmed all of it. And once I finally got him, you know, I said to get, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is a cool story. I'd really like to do this as a documentary. What do you think, Garrett? And Garrett's like, yeah, man, let's do it. And Garrett, fortunately, being my friend, you know, documentaries are expensive. They're not cheap, and I wouldn't have been able to pay Garrett what he should have been paid to do it, you know. But fortunately, he was a good friend of mine, and he's like, yeah, let's do this thing. And you know, when the story really started to develop, and it's called All In. And really why it's called All In is there was 2 parts to the documentary, and it started with kind of my life when, you know, I was fortunate after college. I had a great job in healthcare. I was the director of marketing and strategic planning. They were going to make me the youngest VP in hospital history. And I went in 2 weeks later and said, I'm handing in my notice. My wife was 8.5 months pregnant. We just built a new house. I said, I'm quitting my job. I'm hunting for a living. It went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
You know, but I was all in, right? I'm all in. If I'm going to do this, I'm all in. And we kind of told that story and the struggles and how my wife, who really supported me through it, and then finally able to get over the hump. She was able to quit her job. You know, we're doing well with the show and things like that. But I was all in with that, right? Like I just, you know, I'm going to make it work. Then with that buck, you know, the same kind of thing. I was all in on it, and that was kind of what the storyline was, and it turned out great. But while we're working on that, I said, you know, Garrett, you know, this is a cool story. But, you know, we got the 30th anniversary of our national championship, you know, and Garrett's like, I would love, because Garrett's a sports nerd.
Right.
He's like, I would love to do that. And one thing led to another. I called Lebanon Valley College, and fortunately I'm not too old that I don't still know some people there. And, you know, talked with those folks, and they loved the idea and got the ball rolling, and that was it. You know, we started producing the Dutchman.
The production of it, what was that like? You were a producer on it. I think you were officially labeled a producer on it. And then Garrett obviously did a lot of the work himself, like with his company and everything. But you mentioned how kind of hard it was to dig back 30 years. But what was that process like in general?
Yeah, it was a process. First of all, you know, you had the fact that it was 30 years ago, so digging through the archives and finding the newspaper articles, everything to support it. The other thing, you know, we did, you know, in the documentary, you'll see we had all the team come back, and like there's a picture of us at the end of the national championship game where we're all together, and we recreated that picture. So I'm trying to get 18 guys back on a Wednesday to do it. Well, we did. Every single guy was able to get back.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and we recreated. But it was like herding cats, you know. It was
Yeah.
like, all right, what's going to work? And we kind of started with Mike Rhodes, who's the coach at Penn State, because we knew. And then, you know, we had people in Colorado and people in Florida.
Yeah.
But every single guy in that picture that was on that team got back to recreate it. We did all the interviews in 3 days. You know, we were able to do the interviews and things. So it was a whirlwind, but, you know, I really kind of coordinated all of that, you know, and let Garrett just go do his thing and do the creative stuff. But it worked well.
Yeah, I commend you for that. I have a couple close friends from high school, and it's a miracle if we ever get all together. For you to get an entire team together, that had to be definitely a time-consuming thing. But then when that happened, how special was that to see everyone in the same room again?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, you know, the older you get, you know, our wives always say we got to hear these same stories over and over again. But they just don't get old when you're with your buddies, and you know, and those guys. It changed all of our lives. You know, I can say this: every one of those guys on that team, there's something special about them. They're all doing really well. They're great dads. They're doing well in life. There's nobody on that team that ended up. Man, he just really kind of, you know, they're just really special people, and they became my best friends. You know, Coach used to use the analogy, and I don't like to use it because, you know, but he's like, you know, I go to war with you guys. And like, that's how I felt with them. We were in the trenches together, and when things were hard, we didn't quit on each other, right? And that bond still is there today with those guys. So when we get together, it's a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. It's always special. But to get everybody back like that doesn't happen very often. So it was definitely special.
We'll give you the time and the platform. Is there any specific stories you want to mention, or that your wives are sick of hearing, but I'm sure our audience will love to hear?
I don't know if I want to share most of those, because those are you know, like
PG
things,
and above.
Yeah, you know, we thank God regularly that we didn't have cell phones when we were in college. For sure, we were kind of a wild bunch. But you know, if I was going to share a story, you know, it's in the documentary. If anybody watches it, you know, it would be the game stories, right? Like that's what people are really interested in. And Lebanon Valley, to this day, we're the smallest team to ever win a national championship. Right. You know, it literally is a Hoosier story. You know, like you made me tell me you watched Hoosiers.
Yeah, I've not.
Oh my goodness, that's what I said. That's crazy. It's funny because like when people tell me that, you know, I talk to guys and it's like, I've never watched that movie, but Hoosiers was one of my favorite movies growing up. It was just about an Indiana team that had 7 kids on the team and ended up beating the City League champion and never should have won. It literally was that story, but I can't describe the feeling that weekend. In Division III National Championship, you play the semis and you play the championship the next night. So we played Friday night, and then we had to play Saturday. So Friday night we played Wittenberg, #1 team in the nation, 29-1, powerhouse. Just, you know, they've won national championships. We're not even supposed to be where we're at. And you know, in this game, we're down 15 with 5 minutes to go. We're down 9 with 1:34 to go in the game. 9 points with 1:34, and I remember, you know, there was a timeout, and they were celebrating. They just hit a shot, and then one guy has his hand in the air, and Coach calls a timeout, and Mike brought us in, and I know I was thinking it, and I won't use the exact language that he used, but he's like, we're not going out like this. This game's not over. They think it's over. This game is not over. And we went out there and we chipped away. We tied it, went to overtime, and beat them by 10, and in overtime. And it truly was, like, everybody talks about the NYU game the next night, but that game, like, it was just one of those. And you talked about the buzzer beater. And I always tell people, like, my most memorable play of all my college career had nothing to do with scoring a basket. You'd think it'd be like, oh, it's the tip into buzzer. That's what everybody knows me for. If you go down to Anvil, like Jason said, he had the tip into buzzer win the national championship. But for me, we had just tied the game against Wittenberg, and I'm covering their All-American, you know, Adam Croce. He had torched us that night. I think he had 28 or something like that. And they go 4 low, and it's me and him one-on-one. So just imagine now, like, there's no help coming. Yeah. We came back from 9 down with 1:34 to go, and it's just me and this guy, one-on-one, like in my barn. Like, so I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, all right, like,
barn ball,
let's do this, you know. And I played really good D on him, made him shoot a hard fadeaway shot, and he hit it hard off the backboard, and we got it. And you know, we went on to win that game, and then obviously next night go on to beat NYU, and it's just it was a remarkable run.
Of course. Is there a specific moment of the documentary that you are most proud of? How it turned out?
Oh man, I think it's probably the end when we talk about how special it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, and it kind of all comes together. And I think for me, that's just, you know, explaining to people that euphoric feeling, you know, and how a whole town and community rallied behind us. And in the documentary, our games were packed. People followed us. We had the biggest crowd there. We're the smallest school, but we had more fans than anybody else. And I think being able to tell how we impacted a city, a town like we did, I think was kind of the coolest part for me.
Of course. Yeah. We're going to take another quick break here. We'll be back with Jason Say on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show.
Hey, Julie, nice deck. Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tio Nesta Builder Supply. And yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tio Nesta. And yes, Tio Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave. You've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tionestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow, I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tio Nesta Builders.
Tio Nesta Builders Supply Home Improvement Center. Family owned and operated since 1958 with locations in Tio Nesta and Shippenville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tionestabuilders.us.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Welcome back to the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show, here with Jason Say and live on Explore Clarion and from the Haskell House as well. We're going to quickly wrap things up here in our last 5-minute segment, but just a couple outstanding questions that I had. Coaching, have you ever been involved in that? We talked a little bit during the break that you have, obviously you have kids.
Sure.
What's your coaching experience like, and are you still involved with that?
Yeah, I coached 16, 17 years, out in eastern Pennsylvania. I coached 7th grade, 8th grade. Then I coached varsity at a 6A school for 3 or 4 years. Back here, was fortunate, when my son was going through COVID, Coach Heath let me be on the coaching staff and just so I could go to his games. But I've done a lot of coaching. Obviously, when I started hunting for a living, that cut into, I just couldn't make the commitment, because I'm traveling and things. But as far as coaching, I've done a lot of coaching and to this day, still do things with a lot of the teams at Keystone and my own kids.
So you hunt for a living, but you're also mainly a content creator, a video content creator with what you do. When did that idea happen that you could do something potentially like that? I know you told the story about you quitting your job to do it, but when did you start thinking that would be an opportunity that you could do?
I'm really going to show my age here, but when websites were getting big, right? I worked in the hospital. They put me in charge of doing the hospital website. And I just kind of really took to it. And I'm like, hey, I knew the internet was going to change everything. Yeah. And I had this concept. I said, wow, what if most hunting shows they would shoot them, then you'd see them a year later, right, on the Outdoor Channel or Sportsman Channel. I'm like, wow, what if we did this and produced it and did it online? And that was 17, 18 years ago when I was literally, now everybody's doing it, right?
Yeah.
But I literally was one of the very first to do online content when it came to hunting, and that was the concept I had. And I remember when I talked to sponsors in that first year, they looked at me like I was crazy.
Yep.
And there's ones that to this day sit there and said, I remember when you told me 18 years ago that we'd watch our TV through the internet someday.
Yep.
And and here we are, just over half people watch their stuff by streaming now. So I was kind of ahead of my time, and I was fortunate. It gave me a niche and really let me be able to do the things and do the things that I love.
I admire the foresight on that, because if you were to try and start the same thing that you're doing right now, it'd be so much
really
harder.
hard.
It really would be.
Yeah.
I got to ask this question just because it's such an easy question to ask, but what's your most prized accomplishment when it comes to hunting? What's the thing that you killed that you were... Is it the deer from the documentary?
I mean, if you're going to talk on a personal level, it would be that. I mean, I've had some tremendous elk hunts, archery hunts. I would say the thing that I pride myself in more than anything when it comes to hunting is I take a lot of time to take kids hunting.
Yeah.
Camo Cares is, I don't know if you've heard of that. That's an organization that I helped start, a long time ago. I stepped away from it several years ago, but it's near and dear to my heart. We took wounded vets and kids. So I think probably the thing I'm the proudest and most of is that while I've had success, I've tried to keep it in check and do good things for other people. And so for me, a lot of that is, every year I try and take a new kid to get his first deer, a new kid to get his first turkey. So probably on a personal level, it'd probably be my biggest buck.
Yeah.
But on that kind of level, probably what I'm proudest of is that I try to do good, try to get back to people and get kids involved in hunting.
What makes Pennsylvania so... I don't even know what adjective I can use, but what makes Pennsylvania good or bad for hunting in general?
Well, the good is that we know, I think we have almost 700,000 hunters. That's down. It used to be 1 million and some.
Yeah.
When I was, we still have 700,000 people in the state of Pennsylvania that go hunting. That's good. And it can be bad too, right? Because that's a lot of people that are out hunting and in the woods and things like that. So there's, Pennsylvania is a high pressure state. It's not like Iowa or Illinois where, there's vast amounts of land where, there's not this pressure. But I wouldn't change it for the world. This is where I grew up. Pennsylvania, I get to hunt some of the best states in the country. And I focus more time on Pennsylvania because that's where my roots are from. I could go and shoot bigger bucks. I could go and shoot deer a lot easier than what I do here, but it's the challenge, and I love Pennsylvania. I love my home state.
Where else do you like to go other than PA? Like, what's your go-to?
Kentucky, Illinois, Wisconsin. They're all great states. Ohio, is even a really good one. But those are all states. If I had to pick one, probably Wisconsin. Kentucky.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, like Alaska or anything like that.
It's not for whitetail. If you're talking, do you want to go on a grizzly hunt?
Yeah.
Do you want to go on a moose hunt?
Yeah.
If I'm going on a moose hunt, I'm going to the Yukon. I'm going to Alaska. If I'm going, I elk hunt in New Mexico.
Wow.
So it's, I guess it depends on what you're chasing. But if whitetail's my passion, and when you talk specifically whitetail and things like that, it's Pennsylvania's my favorite, but probably Kentucky, Wisconsin.
Do you fish?
I do. Well, I used to. I was a big fly fisherman.
Yeah.
Loved it. When I started the hunting show, I had to give something up. My wife wasn't going to go for me being gone. So I don't get to fish as much as I used to, but every once in a while I get to bust out the fly rod and go fly fishing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for coming on. One last question for you. What's next for you? You got another documentary coming or anything like that? Or just going to continue going?
I have a documentary coming out this September. It's my buck that I followed up. So, I shot my biggest buck ever 2 years ago. And I hunted 70 different times for him. Well, the next year, I killed my buck on the first day of the season. Never happened before, but that's going to be called All In, No Such Thing as Luck. And really gets into the work that goes into what I do. And that, a lot of people, I'm fortunate. I know that I'm blessed, but I'll get a lot of people that say, oh, you're so lucky, or, you know, it must be nice. And I try to tell people to change their mindset, because none of that was handed to me, right? Like, it was a lot of sacrifice, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not just walking out and doing things. And that's life, that's sports, that's your job, that's whatever it is. And when you hear people, oh, it must be nice, or you're so lucky. Yeah, but it didn't just happen.
Yeah,
so like, that's kind of what the documentary, the next one, follows up on. And it's really, it's no such thing as luck, and it's a lot of hard work that went into it. So that's coming out in September.
September?
Yeah, and anybody who wants to watch those, you know, those are on our website. You know, the All In Roku channel. You know, we have a YouTube channel that they can watch them on and stuff as well. So they'll be available there.
So you're doing a series with like All In.
Yeah. It's literally you know, I'm actually changing everything. It used to be Wired Outdoors, but it's actually, everything's gonna be All In going forward. I'm all in on All In. And it's just been really good for me, and it's a recognizable brand. So it was time for a change. I did Wired Outdoors for 18 years, and just kind of, you know, going into something a little bit different with a little bit more creative documentaries type stuff.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, we thank you for joining us, and we're going to wrap things up here with Jason on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show.